Hey, welcome back to another edition of the Hood Scout Podcast. Got a guest that been on here before, man. So we doing part two, and man, when we talking, ain't no telling where we're going, but it is what it is. Coach, for the people that don't know, introduce yourself, tell the people who you are and where you from.
Coach Todd from Dallas, Texas, head coach of South Oak Cliff. The
So,
Mountain.
coach, man, how you feeling right now, man? Mind, body, and spirit, man. How you feeling right now?
I feel straight. I feel good. You know what I'm saying? I feel like we got to get our get back. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So, we just preparing every day for the opportunity.
yeah. I was gonna start this in 20 different ways, but we'll keep it sports right now. Walk me through this past year. Of course, it didn't end like y'all wanted to end, and that was pretty tough. But overall, how do you assess the year looking back now in retrospect?
Man, anytime you were able to, make it to the state championship game, whether you win or lose, I was not negative just because you lost the game. So, I think we had a good year. I think we overcame some adversity at times. I thought we did some monumental things on how hard it is to get back to the championship for the third time in a row.
Yeah,
We came up a little bit short, but I think at the end of the day, that just kind of showed us that we weren't ready to actually ascend to that type of plateau right now with the program, and we got some more work to do as coaches and as players. And I know we'll be back.
that's an interesting way to phrase it. Now I know this year the schedule. You always known for scheduling hard teams. I think this year you took it to another level, added North Shore in. Talk to me about that mindset. Was it just preparing y'all to try to really go for it and get over that hump in another way to really be super dominant, or because I think this year probably the hardest out of schedule, especially scheduling North Shore on it.
Yeah, the first thing we looked at when we saw real line, first thing we always try to get some good teams that's gonna add some ooh and ah,
Yeah.
effect to it. The second part was when we saw realignment, we knew that we were gonna have to travel and kind of take a different route. Not so more as far as playing games, but we were gonna have to be moving around more this year in the playoffs than in the past. So, we wanted to put ourselves, we were gonna play good teams and have to travel. And we tried to make sure we were the road team in both of those games this year against North Shore and Longview. Duncanville like a home game, even if even if we going down the street, it's still the same thing. So,
Hmm.
it was strategically done as far as putting us in position for our kids to already have the experience of traveling, when we do get to the playoffs.
Man, that lead right to this point. Coach, I got a two-parter. What do you being in the inner city, and I don't know a lot of people know this, to me, schools are in some ways losing population.
Yeah.
You have this voucher thing, which is, I've heard a lot of coaches kind of really talk about this private school voucher thing. You have, charter school, then you have the public. How do you feel about that, and how do you navigate those waters?
Uh, some things doesn't directly affect us in South Oak Cliff, even though it's something out there because of the product we produced. Uh, with the voucher system, I think the state of Texas give everybody $8,000 per kid. What private school you gonna go to for $8,000 a year?
Yeah.
You're not gonna get no St. Mark's, no Green Hill, or some of those type of schools with $8,000. So, that's probably, I think, is more to probably help out the charter schools and things like that. The thing that I will say at South Oak Cliff, by what we've done and what we're doing, it's similar to we're gentrifying the area in the way of the school, the same way people doing Trinity Grove and
Yeah.
Bishop Arts District. So
Yeah.
even though this is the hood in this area, what we're doing here is upping the value so high that
Ooh.
we're probably Dallas is probably the most known topic for the last 3 years is the success that South Oak Cliff has been having.
Yep.
So I think we're just as good as being Obama, or if we were the town views, or if we were the magnet, Booker T. Washington downtown. I think we're one of the top public schools for academic and sport
Yeah.
in the nation.
So that really speaks to y'all administration being A1 too.
Yeah.
Speaking about gentrification, I was thinking about something, coach, and I know, I'm a deep thinker, you're a deep thinker in a way. Do you think that it's not affecting y'all, but do you think kids in the inner city areas are going to start going deep into the suburbs? Like, I had a friend of mine who went to Skyline with me, a young lady. She said she got a house in Roy City. So
Yeah.
do we foresee, like I said, not necessarily y'all, but just in a general scope where, let's be honest, black folks are going to start moving outside the city. Do we see that coming?
Yeah. And what a lot of it is, a lot of people are following them where them vouchers take them to.
Yeah, yeah,
What I'm saying?
yeah.
And I think the state has made it where each city, in order to get some type of funding, has to accept like vouchers or have an area for people to move to, outside of Dallas.
Yeah, yeah. Coach, what is, and I know we talked a little bit about this, but what is the difference from a program like, well, I don't want to say what's the difference. What have you noticed with programs like the South Lakes and the Highland Parks and these schools that, you know, they have more money, but how have they been able to, I throw Alito in there more than them two because they've been dominant. How have they been able to be dominant? Is there anything that they can do that schools on the southern part of town can take advantage of and kind of incorporate too?
I think the overall thing is when you get talking about those schools, is the overall structure for the entire district and the town. I think like when you talk about a place like Alito, I bet it's an initiative from high up in the city officials and the school district that we want to be a winner and we're willing to put everything in place to be successful on and out the field. I think it's harder in the inner city just due to the fact that it's so spread out. So many people, don't go to school where they actually stay. They may go where their aunt stayed or where their grandmama, where they go their grandmama class and stuff like that out of practice. So it's kind of hard to get that true structure, in the inner city.
Yeah.
And we're years away. Our structure is nowhere like the structure they had. If we had that structure, I think we'd probably almost be unbeatable.
Yeah. I heard a little echo, Coach, that I didn't hear a while ago. Speaking of that structure, man, like, and it's funny you say that because to me, I'm like, man, y'all are dominating. I'm like, SOC haven't even reached their peak yet. You got some schools that to me, they've kind of reached the peak. Y'all haven't. So how long do something like that probably take? Like I know admin, it takes everybody, but how long do something like that to take to really build? I remember you saying before y'all won, you've been at SOC, I think you said at that time, 7 to 8 years before y'all even got to this level. Like how long it take to build that infrastructure truly?
I think it's still an echo. Is that something with me?
No, I don't hear it no more.
Okay, I can hear it on my end though, but I will keep going.
Okay.
I don't know if it's a timetable on it. You know what I'm saying? I think you just have to get the stars aligned. I think you got to have the right administration, the right support from the staff at the school. You got to have the right coaching staff, and you got to have the right group of players to all make it work. And then that brings in the outside factors as far as the community support and things like that. And you got to have the right group of parents too. A lot of times when you got parents that believe in you and believe in the vision, they're willing to sacrifice and do some things that people that don't believe not willing to do. And, and I can say we've had great parents that really bought in and done everything that we've asked of them, and they've been supportive to us.
I know that Coach Ward mentioned, it's been a lot of good teams in the playoffs. And I remember even those Skyline teams, y'all went deep and had, a coin toss here and there could have went the other way. But he said it's always been good teams, but y'all kind of got over the hump. What separates it, Coach? Because we know, you look at it and say it's talent. And I've always said SOC is not just talent. What got y'all over that hump? When I know that people from outside, they're going to say it's talent. But when you've seen it, I think talent, of course, plays a part. But it's not just that. What's that niche to help you really get over the hump? Is it just coaching staff? Is it a nuance in between that?
I think you get over the hump once you gain some experience and you kind of been in some good and bad times. You're able to take those experiences and learn from them. And I think that's one thing that we did a great job of. Well, a lot of times, we lost some games that was heartbreaking. But at the same time, we took that same intensity of how that loss felt, and that drove us the entire off season. That drove us. There was a rally cry during the season, and I think we were able to channel our failures and end up making them a positive, where we could get to the big picture one day, which we finally did. But that's what I would say. Going through experience, not panicking. A lot of times when you're inexperienced and you get in certain situations, you may try to just do too much sometimes, or you may just have some panic. And what I learned to do, as we've been going down this road is just take a deep breath, relax, keep the kids motivated, and just tell them we gonna find a way, and just keep striving to find a way, just like digging for gold, man.
Yeah, Coach, how do you view your? Well, I know the feeder system. I don't even know how they're working these in the city because it's so, like you said, so many and all that. But
Yeah.
how do you view the freshman and JV team? What's your kind of philosophy on that? I went to one of the games just then. I thought I think the freshman team. This was about 2 years ago. I thought they looked really good. This was last year. What's your views on that freshman and JV team? Do you keep a close eye on that?
Yeah. We do. We actually keep a very close eye. All their games are recorded. So we got a lot of documentation and a lot of stuff to watch. Going into the off season for them. Their freshman team is probably 1B. The varsity is 1A. Their freshman team is right there because a lot of times that's where you start to establish your culture at. That JV team is kind of that middle child of the group. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You got some guys that's almost here, but it's still a mixture because you could have 3 different grade levels. You had 2 different grade levels, playing together. So it's the first time some of them actually playing with not just their grade level. And then you lose some of those top sophomores because they're gonna be up on varsity, because you need them up there because they that talented. So it's kind of the first time JV is where they first start to get separated a little bit. With some programs, they're able to establish this kind of continuity back when they're in the 6th or 7th grade, long before we get them. We don't actually know who our kids are until the 9th grade. So, we do a lot in a short amount of time.
Yeah. Good point. Good point. Coach, I want to ask a two-parter, so I'll say this first. You wanted to schedule a team out of, I think, New Orleans. Car.
Yeah.
What was? I think it fell through and you didn't do it. I don't know why. But what was the thinking behind that? What made them become on your radar?
I watched some movie. I forgot what it was. They had like a little documentary on them, and they were a team that had won state Louisiana and was on a hell of a run on their little documentary. So, just hearing about the culture down there, you see them come out with no tunnel. That's something we can relate to before we got a tunnel. So we know the struggle there and how they made their own entrance fabulous without even having a tunnel. So, I knew about the program. I knew they produced a lot of kids, had good coaching. And that was just something we were trying to reach out and find other teams like South Oak Cliff that just wasn't from Texas.
Yeah, and it's funny, man, because y'all remind me kind of, Texas high school football history, but y'all remind me of a team that could be from Louisiana or Florida. It's like, down here, man, it's a lot of conformity. Y'all were probably the first ones to me who were really being authentically yourselves. Down here, that's not a lot. That's not everywhere. You know what I'm saying? To keep it a buck.
No, that's true, man. One thing about us is you got to let a lot of kids and people know there's nothing wrong with being from the hood.
Yeah, real talk.
And being from the hood doesn't always have to be a negative thing.
Yeah.
But some of the traditions and some of the things that these kids have done growing up playing Little League, we still embrace that culture here in South Oak Cliff.
Coach, let me ask you this. And I know we're about to get flowing 13 minutes in Hood Scout podcast. Coach Jason Todd, back-to-back state champion from South Oak Cliff High School, joining me. Coach, how, I was reading something yesterday about the gunslinger Archie Cooley from Mississippi Valley State and his creation of, I think it was I don't know if it was the hurry up offense or kind of that widespread offense.
Yeah.
But, some people were saying that he doesn't get enough credit. Do you think there's an issue when it comes to that, where from a mental standpoint, an X and O standpoint, that certain guys are overlooked? Like, do you think that's kind of a norm thing? And even in Texas high school football, like, is it all that these guys just have talent versus, hey man, they're a notch up on the mental side of the game too?
I'm gonna say, coming from the state of Texas, this is probably the number one state as far as the mental aspect of football, as far as going against schemes and great coaching. I don't think you can find better coaches anywhere in America than what you're gonna see in the state of Texas. When you bring up a guy like Archie Cooley, he actually was one of my coaches in college for a year.
Wow.
And what he did, he kind of created that run and shoot style offense. He was an innovator of back when he had Jerry Rice and Willie Todd from Mississippi Valley State. And he used to tell us stories about how a lot of pro coaches and stuff used to come down to his practice and kind of just try to learn about what he was doing. But he was definitely an innovative person and one of the bright minds in the game, no matter what his color was.
Yeah, Coach. Do you think you was innovative in I don't know how hands on you are now because you're the head coach, but go back to them Skyline days. Do you think you were kind of innovative within yourself?
Yeah. What I say, what a schematic stuff. I did a great job of paying attention to detail and copying a lot of different things that I saw at a lot of different places. and just picking some things here and there, and then making it my own. But it was actually, nothing was brand new that we did. What we did was basically we saw something here. We'll take this little piece we like. We'll put it with this and kind of come in with our own formula. Some of the things that I kind of did, like a Skyline, embrace was stuff I saw in the past where I really was just honoring pride and tradition of what other schools have did, like when we wore ski masks or,
talk a little bit about that. You said that on the last episode. People might not, what was that? What was the mindset behind that? What were you trying to instill with that?
We were playing Carter, and it was actually a game where I knew we had to have a particular mindset to go in there and finish them off this particular year. And it actually came to light back in the early 90s when I was probably middle school. Carter used to wear a ski mask, under their helmet. So it was something that I remember when I was a young kid. That like, if I ever be a coach, I'm gonna have my team, and I gave those masks to a couple of people. Then it kind of came tradition on certain big games. We would wear a ski mask, and we didn't wear them that often, but certain games we would. Probably here the best thing I liked that since I got here at soccer is probably the fact when we get to the playoffs, we wear the warm-up suits in pregame. I don't even know. I think it came about because we had some brand new jerseys one day, and we didn't want nobody to see what we had on. And then it kind of just picked up after that. And so every week we would just wear warm-ups in pregame. And I think that was the first time I've ever seen anybody in football be out on the field in pregame with warm-ups on. But it's tradition. And our kids, they love the warm-up suits. And, from now on, that's going to be a sock thing. Every time we get to the second round, we pull out the warm-up suits.
Coach, I think you guys got a great tradition, even aside from ball. I think you got some decent kids. I remember Coach Jones said something that was interesting. He said back at Lincoln, man, a lot of those people didn't realize what we were dealing with from the standpoint of just sometimes getting kids to come to school. And he said some of the guys are good, but they would either stop coming if something happened. Is that kind of still an issue with some of the schools in the hood now, where it's like you got to kind of have that village mentality with these kids to make sure they don't fall through the cracks?
Yeah, but I think you do have to have that village mentality, but it's not I don't think it's as rough as it used to be, but it's more stuff to get into nowadays than what it used to be. So you still got to have hands on, and just like anything, you got to know your personnel. You got to know what kids that you got to keep that extra eye on. You got to know what kids that you got to have their homeboys. Hey, I need some help watching him. If he about to get some trouble, y'all need to let us know so we can keep him out of trouble. It's still a village mentality, but it's just you have to monitor it a different way because it's just a whole different ball game, from the past. Even in the last 15, 20 years, it's changed a lot. I remember we were going to the state championship game, and our kicker was late to the bus because he was helping his daddy put a roof on their house. We actually waiting in the parking lot, going to the state championship game, finna go down to Waco the night before. And we actually waiting for Salvador because he putting a roof on his house with his daddy. But that's real life stuff, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good stuff. Coach, how do you manage and handle ego, man? That's something that people don't talk about. Now I've been around some programs where certain coaches are screaming and going ballistic, this, that, and the other. How do you handle the ego, whether it's your staff, whether it's other coaches in the building, administration? Like, how do you handle the ego of personnel, whether it's a man or a woman? Just how do you handle that ego perspective from other guys under you?
Okay, what I say the big thing is, as far as dealing with ego, it go back, you got to know your people. I'm kind of, even though a lot of people trying to view me as a rah-rah type of guy, I really probably one of the most laid-back people that you'll ever see.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you got to put people in a position where you feel like you're supportive of them. As you can see, I'm not like some coaches where I don't want my assistant coaches to be vocal and I don't want them known. Coach Ward is on social media. You see Coach Spencer all the time. You got Coach Zach always posting, with the Zach O-line.
Yeah.
And I think it takes a good balance of guys. You can have boisterous people. You got to have some people that's fine, just kind of being in the shadows, but understand that they're just as important as the guy that everybody knows. One thing about egos too is that eventually, if you really think you're bigger than the game or not true to yourself, you'll expose yourself later on. It may not happen in this situation, but he may be at your next job with stuff not the same. And then you realize a lot of blessings you may have had where you once were. So, as far as with me, man, with egos, to get back just to the ego part of it, whether it's kids or coaches, I just make sure that I show that I don't have an ego. That should be the biggest example of why nobody should have one, because it's not a coach, Todd. Without each coach here, each player doing a particular job, I wouldn't be successful. I'm just the name that goes at the top of a lot of stuff. But I understand how good the foundation and the guys that keep me up, where my name can be mentioned up here. I'm only as good as those guys whose shoulders I've been standing on these whole time with me being a head coach. Or just like when I was underneath Coach Sapp, he was standing on my shoulders. And it never wasn't about me. I just wanted to win. I didn't care what role I was in as far as winning. Nowadays, you got a lot of other issues, with college and, everybody want to make a lot of money, so the money becomes the root of a lot of evil a lot of times. And you actually got to be content and happy with yourself and whatever role you got. And if that doesn't fall for you, you still got to appreciate what the game has done brought to you. It may not be a monetary value. Your effect may be, just how you affect the kids, where you gave them hope and them kids come back and help another kid, which could still mean you touching generations. You know what I'm saying? And, like the older I get in the game, the more I kind of listen to that Jay-Z, when the director cut, we'll be just fine, because what we've established is going to live on long past my expiration date on my casket, on my grave, on my tombstone. And that's my mission.
And I think that's powerful, Coach, because, y'all, I think your whole staff, at least ones I know, y'all ain't chasing jobs. It's not money. And I remember talking to Ward, it's the coach from Ennis, man, the assistant. I don't know if he's still there. Been there for like 38, 40 years. And it's like, you don't always see that. So I think that's a very powerful point. Speaking of ego, man, I heard the coach say something which, I don't know how I feel about it, but I want to get your thought. He was saying, former coach, he was saying, guys on the staff really don't have to like each other. They really don't have to get along, and they can still win. What's your thoughts and philosophy on that? What you think about that?
Yeah, I think that's very possible. You know what I'm saying? Like what you got to do, you got to respect the job. You know what I'm saying? You don't have you have to be respectful toward the individual, but you don't have to like the person. You don't have to go out hanging with them. You don't got to do a lot of that. But if you all come with respect for the job, y'all gonna all have to understand that that's the number one cause why we're here, is to make sure we're successful. And that's only gonna benefit everybody. You don't got to be buddy with people. You don't got to talk to them, away from the job or nothing like that. You just got to have a mindset that, hey, we gonna all get our work in. I got a group of friends. You got a group of friends. We really ain't partners. We just work together. You know what I'm saying? And some relationships are established that way. Then on staffs, you got also some relationships that are very close. Where people date back because they may be established long before they start coaching together. Things like that. So, I can go either way. I work with plenty of people that I don't like as people, but that don't mean they're not good coaches.
Yeah, that's deep.
And would I rather have somebody I like as a person and they not be a good coach? Nah, I'd rather have a good coach that I don't like, because I can adjust how I feel.
Wow, that's an interesting thing. Because see, what I said I can see that too, but I was like, what's the long term? How long can that go on when you're working with somebody you really don't like? Can that?
I think it's about the fit of the place. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like every job is not the same. And it probably affects more the people who hadn't had a lot of jobs, because they don't know how a lot of different places are. But guys that have been different places, they'll be like, man, they'll make up a pros and cons list and see, man, the cons is not too many. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of pros over here. So I'm going to stay established with that right there. It is a better fit for me, even though these couple of things I just don't really like.
Yeah, good stuff. Let's transition and talk a little bit about this, Coach. So I think the state of Florida just had passed NIL in high school. You got NIL in college. You got the transfer portal. Let's hit on transfer portal. It's a lot of kids, Coach, that I covered here there in high school in the past 2 to 3 years that are in the portal. Is there an opportunity for these kids? And that's a literal question. Like, if you don't get picked up, what are these kids going to do if they're just in the portal?
They're going to be in the portal, and either they're going to go pay for their own education somewhere, or either they're going to...
How serious is that, though, Coach? How serious is that? How real is that?
It's very real because it's so new and everything hits so fast that you got kids that go in the portal for a better opportunity, and people advising them to go in the portal. You got people that are at schools where the college coaches, like, we trying to free up a scholarship. We think it's best you leave, so they feel like they have no other thing to do but jump in the portal. And then you got just some silly people that shouldn't even have a reason to even be jumping in the portal. That just over flooding the portal with just a bunch of names, but not a bunch of players.
Yes, sir. How do you feel about this NIL thing in college and kind of where it's going to where it's, they're gonna start getting money. Some of the schools, like, is this
Yeah.
something that's long overdue? Is it something that's tricky? Is it something that's needed? What's your feelings on that?
I think it's long overdue. It's been a lot. It's been a small amount of people that have been making a lot of money on the back, and it's really kind of, if you look at it, it's really like modern day. It was really like modern day slavery. You had a lot of athletes that at these football schools have been generating millions and billions of dollars for a small group of people to make money off their back. Like I said before, I always thought that integration was just about to capitalize on making money off the black athlete anyway. And if you look at these programs since they've integrated, and then look how much their athletic budgets have increased and how much revenue they bring in, and a lot of it's on the back of great football players that come there, because sports is one thing that kind of brings all races together. And now you may leave the game and then they go back how it is, but at that game, everybody's rooting for that same team at that same particular time. So I'm big for NILs. I wish it was some more structure with it. I think what they're finna do now, since they're gonna make the colleges pay them, I think how they finna get the players, they finna get their lick back on the players, is now they're gonna make some of them services that the players have been receiving for free. I think they're gonna make them have to pay it, because they're gonna be like they're a paid employee of the university. So a lot of things they may have been benefiting on, as far as just getting, free stuff, I think at the end of the day that they're gonna find a way to tax them kids to make some of their money back that they actually giving away.
Yeah. Now, do you think, long way in the state of Texas, but do you think that possibly can trickle down at the high school level in the state of Texas? It's already passed in some states, but at the high school level in the state of Texas, you ever see NIL being a real thing?
Uh, I don't really think it's, if you have a special talent kid that's really marketable, because most of these kids not making real true NIL money.
True.
It's just, if you come to this particular school, hey man, we gonna make sure you set up with this, that, and the other. It ain't like Nike is going to some of these kids and like, hey man, we want you to be the spokesperson for this. A lot of that is already set up through the university and through the boosters and stuff like that. When you start getting to high school, it won't be no real NIS. It's gonna be whatever high school got the most money, and they're gonna have a group of people that can pay players, and they can front that is like coming from this, that, and the other. But it's really just gonna be a community that got a lot of money, gonna be able to buy who they want to buy.
Straight up. Coach, speaking about, before the integration era, I know we talked on last podcast about Thursday night lights, P-ville and all that. Do you feel like the lack of that has hurt the culture? And I say that because, like, I was watching something, the Polynesian Bowl, and I think that's fascinating because nobody talks about it. Polynesian Bowl, right?
Yeah.
But you have African Americans playing for the Polynesian Bowl. Not saying that's wrong or right. It's cool. But we actually had our own all-star games here and there. From what I've researched a little bit back in those days, but all that stuff is gone. Like, did a cultural piece get lost in that, man? Because it's like, like the Polynesian Bowl, and then some can say that's not right, but why don't we have a version of the Polynesian Bowl?
Yeah, I think it has got lost, because you got to realize, just us as people, we've always moved. You know what I'm saying? Like, my family started out of South Dallas, then that moved.
Speak on it.
Then I had a group of family members that moved to the Redbird area. Now people stay in DeSoto, Lancaster. So it's always a migration of moving, and when the grandparents start, being deceased and things like that, it was never that family structure that came back to the place where it all started at. So I think just the fact of, people gonna always be moving. And what happens is, because there's so many people that are like us that move, it's like, oh, what once was Velt is now this used to be Lincoln. Oh, now it's in Sock. Oh, then it leaves Sock. Oh, it migrates to Carter. Then it crosses the freeway. Carter becomes DeSoto. Now you see people we moving to Midlothian. We moving to Reddo. We just as a people, we keep steady moving a lot of times to get away from the people we're around, but don't realize them same people gonna follow us too and be there too with us.
That's funny. That's funny, Coach. Coach, speaking of community and moving, I'm gonna touch a sensitive area, and it is what it is. The value of men within our community, and it's not a relationship thing because that stuff is way too complex to even talk about per se. But is that a lacking thing with our community now? In our community, a lot of coaches step up and kind of play that figure here and there to kind of bridge the gap. And I heard a couple coaches say that they've heard from mothers to say, "Hey, don't really have a father figure. I'm gonna put them in sports." Is that a real issue? And is there a way to combat it?
I think it is an issue because a lot of times, a lot of mothers they do a great job, but at some point in time, I think in every young man's life, he needs to be able to look at a man's eye as he growing up when he think he getting to that point where he can buck the system, and he kind of smelling himself to a degree.
Yeah.
I think our program took that transformation back, not with the class that won state, but with the class that lost to Frisco. I think it's the one that lost to Frisco the year before. When we had a group of fathers that were always around, was Mark Rogers who was Justin's dad. We had the twins' dad. We had Jimmy Wyrick's dad. And we had some more dads that were always around. Kyron Chambers' father, was around too. So we had a group of dads, and I thought that was the first time where our kids actually saw a group of men that wasn't coaches that actually came to practice and could identify, with the guys, and then those parents treated all the kids like they were their own. I think that's when we took that next step at South Oak Cliff, was with that group of parents came here, and those kids were actually able to see those men that practice every day, and each one of those guys had relationships with certain kids, and I think that helped our program tremendously. And if you look at it, those guys, even when their sons are gone, they're still active in our program. They're still on the sidelines at the games, that they're, anytime we can come through, if they need something, we right there for them. So, I will say that was a big thing for our program.
Jimmy, I don't know him like that, but that's a young man from afar that I seen that got his head really screwed on right.
Yeah. Jimmy was like 48 years old. He was 18. His maturity level was beyond most high school kids out there.
Yeah, that's a testament to his parents. I mean, it goes back to the home, like you said about history. I had Bambata, co-owner of Pan African Connection, with his apparel line. I forgot it. Young King Clothing. He's doing this thing, and he was saying how he was a teacher for a short period. When he got out of college, and he would notice some of the difference with some of the kids who may have had a little bit of a father, a little bit of a structure, less emotional here and there. Can you actually see that difference in real life, Coach?
Yeah, you can. And what I can tell sometimes is you can tell. Okay, let's say it's a young lady, and she stayed with her mama, and you can kind of see, like if you say something about, like you ask about her dad or something, you can see the mama in her response about her daddy. You know what I'm saying?
Ooh, you just dropped one.
Yeah, so if you at home, a lot of times if something is just constantly, even if it's not directly pointed to you to listen or hear, if you hear it, it becomes subliminal, and it ends up getting inside your head. Ooh. And a lot of times, you can see a lot of these kids just come to school angry for no reason.
They do.
You just see them, and I'm like, girl, what is wrong with you with all this boys, just smacking their lips every time?
Yeah.
A lot of stuff they do subconscious, they don't even realize they're doing it. It's just a lot of them, they just wake up angry in the morning.
Yeah, yeah. And that's a powerful point, because this was my first, not a coach, but my first time working in the inner city. And you kind of see the girls and the boys. And what I said one quote, I said, you see why the kids are like they are when you meet the parents.
Yeah.
Now, it's like I see why she's like that, because she's high-headed. But her mama ready to come out there and cuss somebody out.
Yeah, and not even get to the bottom of the situation first.
Yeah.
Or identify that they kid may be wrong in this situation.
Yeah. Wow.
And that will happen a lot of times. A lot of times is people don't want to go back to the root of the problem in order to address a particular situation that happens.
Mm-hmm.
They want to look at all the causes that came from the action that was done in the beginning. And sometimes I think we got to get back to the action. You know, if your kid didn't do what he was supposed to do, you know, all this other stuff came after. But let's get back to the root of the problem. Did he do what he was supposed to do? Yes or no? And let's correct that. And then we can build on and correct any other issues you think we may have. But, you know, sometimes, like you said, man, talking to the kid may be better than talking to the parent, because it's some parents that delusional, and I just like, Lord of mercy, I'm glad my mama wasn't like that when I was growing up. But
Man, that's you know, I'm gonna ask you a couple other questions, but I'm gonna speak to that. I was telling a father who has an athlete in the area. There's a video I seen on social media, man. It really hurt my heart, man. It was a girl, a lady kind of doing a prank, telling her kids, "I'm gonna get back with y'all dad," just to see their reaction. So you know, one of the kids was like, you know, "Dad's married, you can't do that." The other kid said, "He don't do nothing for us," and she started playing Sexy Red, "F my baby daddy."
yeah,
And it's, you know, you cannot like the other parent, but I was like, when did in our community we allow our kids to talk and be like that in front of us? Yeah, my mom wouldn't let me. I couldn't drop no F-bomb in front of my mom.
yeah, I think a lot of it relates to music, man.
Ooh, speak on that.
You know, back when I was growing up, you know, if you rode around with your grandparents, you were gonna believe this KKDA. You know what I'm saying? All that type of old music. Then if you ride with your mom and them, you know, you may be listening to Luther, Freddie Jackson, stuff like that. Now what happened is, it's like the kid, the grandmama, the kid, and the mama all listen to the same damn music.
Yeah.
Where nothing is censored or nothing is, you know, you can hear the shit on the radio. You know, it's just everywhere. You know what I'm saying? So I think now it's like everybody doing the same thing, no matter what your age is. And that, it ain't no more, you sit at the little table and we're in this room at the big table. You know, everybody just where they want to be nowadays.
Yeah. And even I had Coach Ward said a couple years ago, he said, "Man, now that I got two daughters, you know, not to sing out the all of it, he said, man, that Sexy Red stuff, that's terrible." You know, it's like as you start, you know, having kids, it's like it changed your mindset too. So I remember him telling me that. Coach, what's your mindset now? Like, what's your ways of growing now? Are you growing now? What's your mental? You're a veteran in this game. You're a winner in this game. You've kind of reached the status to me in this game. What's kind of your mindset on growing right now? What you looking for and what you're trying to do now?
You know, I've been doing this for 23 years.
Yep.
From the standpoint, I know I won't be doing it 23 more.
Yeah.
You know, I know that for a fact. So when I look at my career right now, I'm a little bit over the halfway mark. And I think I'm probably maybe about 1/3 of the way. I got 1/3 to give to this game. And what I want to do is I want to put as many people in position to be successful and live their dreams. I want to be able to hopefully impact a lot of kids where they understand the importance of coming back to help reach a kid that may be lost, to give them that chance that hopefully we provided them. I want to continue to, you know, to grow, surround myself with a good group of guys, to continue to grow and elevate myself. But at the same time, understand that I'm closer to the end than I am closer, you know, to the beginning of my coach career. And you know, if it ended today or if it kept going for another 15 years, because I hopefully want to go. You know, I want to go at least 15 more. You know, God say the same, but at the same time, you know, it may not be in the same capacity that I'm in for the last 15, but I want to make sure that when I'm finished, that I set people up, and I'm a resource to younger guys. I'm a resource and kind of somebody that can hold some accountability to these college coaches and hold some of these guys to the fire to make sure that they don't forget where they came from, and kind of bridge some gaps with some people. You know, that's my influence of the guy that I want to lead with.
Yeah, and Coach, I know you're a father. You know, public really don't talk about a lot. How old is your son? Then what's now you getting older? You got wisdom. What's something you really been kind of hammering to him to kind of, you know, stir him in the right direction?
Actually, he'll be a freshman this year, and he's gonna be going to soccer. Never really played football before. I never pressured him to. He wanted to be a basketball player, and so I let him hoop. But he's been working out the football team. And the biggest thing that I can say that I've been trying to instill in him is understanding how you got to work. You know what I'm saying? You want to be good at something, but you sit on your phone talking to little girls, or you playing on the phone watching videos and playing video games, but you ain't putting nothing into yourself to be better at whatever you want to be. So these first couple of days, he been going through the off-season workouts with the freshman group, and I can kind of see that he kind of understand what me and his grandfather been telling him about. Sometimes you got to understand you got to put some work in it to be good, and just putting work in don't mean you're gonna be successful at it. That just means you did the least of what you're supposed to do. And I kind of say I've been proud of him these first couple of days because he get up at 8 in the morning, got to go to Summer Bridge program. Then he leave that. He come down here and make a sandwich or something in my office and eat some chips. He go to work out from 4. From about 5 to 7. Then shoot, we go home, take a shower. He lay down, go to sleep, and wait for that alarm clock to go out for the next day. So, I'm proud of him, and he kind of seeing some structure now, and he kind of being around some other kids. So he in that weight room. So, I just the sky the limit for him. Whether he a good athlete or not, I want him to understand the hard work ethic.
Yeah, good stuff, and I like that side of it. It ain't just football; it's teaching as well.
Man. Football go in, man. Like I tell anybody, use the game of football because it don't need you, so you better use it.
Yeah, Coach, how y'all growing as coaches, man? Are y'all planning to get out, go to some college camps, or how are y'all as a coaching staff growing? I know Spencer does this thing with the linebackers doing this summer, and then number 2, I forgot what I was gonna say, so just answer that
one. We're doing the spring months. We've had the coaches, we've been visiting different colleges, as far as watching some of our players at other places, kind of picking some knowledge from different places. I did my little food evaluation of a couple of institutions.
How did that go? We gotta stop you, man. Where did you go? What did you eat, and how did that go too, man?
The first stop, because I kind of go where I got relationships with people, good relationships that last beyond football. So the first spot I went to was Oklahoma.
Okay.
And I just went down there because Emmett asked me to come, so I was like, I'm gonna go check it out. And I didn't realize how spoiled these kids or how good these kids have it now. Wow. As far as just the nutrition, like they got mouths, they get snacks during practice nowadays. You know what I'm saying? It's just like it's unbelievable. And so I was down there. That you walk out the field, they got mouths, and it's like you at the damn Brahms or something. So and then he took me upstairs, and they like all you can eat buffet. I left out of there probably about 4 plates before I got on the highway traveling to Dallas. So he was like, yeah, man, did this every day. And I was like, man, these kids don't have to do nothing. He like, nah, shoot, go to class and play football. That's it.
Wow.
So then I was like, you know what? Well, I'm finna go to some other colleges to see if everybody eating good like this. So I can't mention some colleges because I guess they're not in the same budget. You know what I'm saying? But I went to Texas, and Coach Gilbert was down in Texas. So he made sure he treated me like a 5-star recruit. He took me to this barbecue place. I can't think of the name of it, but I was struggling.
Man, I wonder, was it the one? It's a guy name. Was it a guy's name?
No, it wasn't Tony Black or nothing like that.
Okay.
I can't remember what the place was though, but it was a good barbecue. Coach Gilbert and Coach Fina, they showed me a good time down there, and I really enjoyed that time. And I can see why Texas and Oklahoma are the institutions that they are.
Yeah,
because they put a lot of time and money into making sure those kids got everything they possibly need in the world.
Mm-hmm. Coach, how you two-parter? How much time do you guys put in the office? Like, you don't got to tell me everything, but what's y'all schedule like coming in? Are y'all there doing the summer a lot? Tell me that, and then how are you growing mentally? I'm always on that mental side. You any documentaries, any movies, any books?
Yeah, I say the time spent, and this not a lie. Yesterday, I got here at 8, and a lot of coaches get here around the same time because a lot of them doing the summer programs, to make a little extra cash, as far as with the EOC trainings and, and different stuff like that. So I know personally, I got here at 8 o'clock yesterday, and I left at 8:17 at night. So to be honest with you, a lot of us, we put in 12 hours, even though it's not constant work. We don't start work after the afternoon. But, a lot of us up here for 12 hours, we understand our schedule has to fluctuate around the kids and around the different things that go on as far as how hot it is outside and stuff like that. So, we up here all day, man, to be honest with you. And it ain't like I'm at work, because I ain't got to worry about no bunch of kids running around the building or doing this or that. So, I put in like 12 hours a day, Monday through Thursday.
Okay.
Them making me clock in is foolish. I wish I got paid by the hour.
Yeah, but then how you going on the mental aspect, Coach? Any movies, any documentaries, any books, anything you've seen lately that kind of pique your interest on that front?
Man, to be honest with you, I get a lot of my interest now from TikTok. You know
what
I'm saying?
Okay.
I've been seeing this dude that I always be talking about some Anardarkies and and I'll be like, I'm gonna start researching this and they've been talking about Antarctica. You know how Antarctica is like it's something supposed to be special down there. So I said I'm gonna start researching, that type of stuff and that stuff that interests me along with watching I watch the same shows every day, man. I watch In the Heat of the Night.
Yeah, you like a grandpa, man.
I watch In the Heat of the Night and Martin and damn, this one more show, Matlock. I watch them shows like in my office. It's Blue Bloods too. That's another one I've been watching. Yeah. It's on in my office right now, man. Blue Bloods up there.
So you like me, Coach, because not a lot of people, I remember you told me back then, you say, man, I might dabble in, listen to some conspiracy stuff, and I'm like that, and it's like, it's almost like you can't even say that down here. It's like if you talk football, you gotta be this who you are. You can't dabble in different stuff. So I was like, man, Coach, the first person I ever heard say, man, I dabble into some conspiracy books here and there, and I thought that was cool because a lot of people, it's like you gotta put in a facade of who you are, I guess, to move up to where you can't even have a different side publicly. And I'm like, that's kind of odd to me.
Yeah, and a lot of people in this game, man, they can't really be themselves. You know what I'm saying? They always got to try to put on a facade of what looks good to move up to the next job. But when you content with where you are, as far as it ain't about elevating to what other people perceive as a high level job, just be who you are, man. Because the thing about being who you are, whether or not they like you, they got to respect who you are because, you being true. You know what I'm saying? So now a person, if you being who you truly are, the person don't like what you say, that's fine. Or if they do like what you say, that's fine. But they can't never say you were fake or you didn't give them a true presentation of who you are. And that's what I try to do. I just be me. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I can't be the next person. I can't be Coach Sapp. I ain't Carlos Lynn. I ain't Robert Woods. Yeah. I'm just Jason Todd. And there's going to be some good things about being me, and there's going to be some bad things about being me. But I'm always me.
Yeah. Let's end on this one, Coach. 47 minutes in. Let's end on this one. Give me your definition of leadership and give me your definition of building. What does it mean to build something?
Leadership to me, is the ability to do or have done the things that you ask people under you to do. And from that standpoint, I mean, like me as the head coach at South Oak Cliff, a lot of people view football as just the coaching part. You know what I'm saying? But there's a whole bunch of layers that you have to do and have in order before you even get to the coaching part. So, I still pride myself on things like, I'm not too good to wash the clothes, clean the locker rooms, just do what we call the grimy work, the work that nobody really want to take credit for. So, I think that's what leadership is showing people that you're willing to get down and do whatever you ask them to do. And no job is too big, no matter what your job title is, or too small. And making people feel like everybody's has an opinion, so everybody feels like they have some ownership, in the corporation or the organization. And that's what we look at ourselves as an organization. Everybody has an important part. Yes, some people, piece of the pie is bigger than others. But at the same time, we all have a stake in the success of this, just like buying a stock in a company. Some people may, got a bigger, I'm just a figurehead. So, I'm like Lady Eloise on what's that movie with Eddie Murphy?
Which one is that? Dang. See, I don't be watching a lot of movies, Coach. I ain't gonna lie.
But he was in Boomerang.
Okay.
So I'm like Lady Eloise. They like, he ain't got no ownership. He just the figure name of the company. The ownership is by my assistant coaches. They the ones that got ownership in this company because that's how I want it. And I hope they all feel compensated, and I do the best to make sure they all are put in the best position to be successful too.
Let me ask you this, Coach, and I know I had a second part, but you said something the other day, but this was like a year or two ago about going to Home Depot, getting the water hose. Do you remember that and what that was about? I think you said you said I don't know if you said why am I the only one doing it? Some of you like I went to Home Depot and I got a water hose or something, and I thought I was like, what's the message behind it? I don't know if you were saying need to take care of what you got. You don't remember that?
Yeah, now, if we did go to water hose, what probably happened either that may have been a year when we were buying something for bio storage field to water the grass.
Okay.
But like what we like, we would do our own stuff. If they ain't cut the grass, I got a coach that got a ride lawnmower. Coach Davis, he'd come up here and cut that grass. We had grass out there.
Yeah.
If we wanted to line the field and they weren't doing it fast enough, we'd do it ourselves. So
yeah.
What they kind of went back to is investing in yourself, because once you're successful, more people are going to invest in our organization.
Yep.
But how many people really invest on the ground level when you're trying to build an organization? And so now, I can make a phone call right now. Yeah, we need this, and somebody gonna come running over here. But what about back then when they would just let the phone ring on us?
Yeah,
we were willing to input our own funds and our own time into being successful, and no matter who else believed in us at that time. So that's what that's kind of about. And go back to Skyline here. I used to be on the water patrol at Skyline. The people that had to go move do the damn sprinklers and put fertilizer on the field.
Yeah. Real talk. Now we're gonna end on this, and I don't know if you already answered. Did you answer that question about what's your definition of building, Coach?
Building is the first thing about building is a vision and your mindset. A lot of times, I'm gonna give you an example of a player. Let's say we get a player here as a youngster that's pretty good, and he's only looking at himself and what he is. Well, I'm trying to get him to understand and see where I see him being in 4 years. So a lot of times a builder's mind is looking to the final product, not the product, not the foundation of the product. And a lot of times, a lot of people are looking at themselves as what they are and not what they can be. And from that standpoint, just even going back to coaching, when I got into coaching, I didn't understand what it took to go to a state championship. Those kids in South Dallas showed me that was possible. I didn't even think I coached it. Everybody say break, win, state, and all that type of stuff. But I really didn't have a true imagination, a thought process of what it ever took to get to state. Those kids showed me that because they locked in and they believed and they gave their blood, sweat, and tears. So them doing that, in order for me to have a vision now where I want to do this because those people showed me how it can be done coming from a place like Lincoln. Now, if we take this to other places and continue to build and build on it, it should be possible anywhere if we can get it done in the heart of South Dallas and get all those kids to buy in and be together. And that's kind of the mindset of a builder, is always seeing what the final product is and always not judging yourself on every hiccup. It's like I was talking to J-Mac last night, I think on the thing, and most of the time, most people get better through failure. You don't get better when you're successful.
That's good.
Being successful normally brings complacency and you content with stuff because you think you've arrived. And that's what I was hitting back to when I was saying we were going for the 3-peat this year. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we made it back. Yeah, we was up going into the fourth quarter, but we didn't do what South Oak Cliff is known to do in this whole entire run of 3 years, which was close games out. We didn't close that game out. They closed that game out. And so that goes back to some things that we got to reevaluate as coaching staff. Yeah, we've done a tremendous job for the last 3 years. But are we content with where we are? Or is it, we going to be honest and say it's still some steps and some improvement that we need to do and find? And sometimes it's about finding stuff to improve on. It just ain't, you got to find your own fights in your head that you got to take on your own challenges sometimes. Because now I think back, I'm like, damn, if it was like this, well, how hard is it for Alito year after year after year after year after year to continue to reach that level they reach? Mm-hmm. Like, people don't understand. It's so easy to be complacent when you can get knocked off 1 week, but it's something they do a great job of keeping everybody locked in. And that's what we're trying to get the secret to right now is, yeah, we've done it once. Yeah, we've done it twice. Yeah, we even went back a third time. But we didn't get it done. Now what's going to keep us going for the next 10 years?
Man, that's the way to end it right there, man. You dropped a lot with that, man. 54 minutes in, 55 minutes in, coach. Coach, if you have any football pictures, man, send them to me. So I'm gonna make a little edit. I'm gonna post some little snippets out there, man. But nevertheless, man, appreciate you joining me, man. Appreciate your time. And I look forward to watching y'all three-peat this year.
Yeah, man. We going for it, man. And thanks for your support, man. Anything we can do for you, just let us know.
Okay, appreciate it, bro. Take care.
All right, you too.
All right, Doc.